Welcome to Simplify to Scale, a show dedicated to helping you scale a high impact and high profit business that you love without all of the complexity and chaos that can keep you trapped in the day-to-day. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and with decades of scaling experience, I know what actually works and what's just hype. So if you are done with all of the one-size-fits-all scaling advice and all of the overnight success promises, and instead you want proven practical strategies that will help you simplify operations, elevate your leadership, amplify profits, and scale sustainably, let's dive in and get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Simplify to Scale show. Today, Jess is back with me, and we are going to be talking about the September Scramble. So hopefully, you actually took some time to enjoy the summer, and we're not stuck behind your computer looking longingly outside, wishing that you were there this entire summer. Don't know about you, but I've spent many a summer there. And instead, hopefully, you're feeling a bit refreshed and ready to go. But whether you were stuck working all summer or whether you're just re-entering back into kind of the reality of business after what is usually a different and quieter period in business over the summer, this is that period of time where it can feel like a mad dash scramble through the end of the year. Because even though we have one quarter ahead of us, the reality is with holidays and with everything else, you're already probably thinking about or close to thinking about next year. And you've got a bit of a condensed and very high-paced, high-packed timeline. So, Jess, excited to dive into the joy that is the September Scramble through Q4?
Yes, I am. It's so relatable and it's so real. Just when we were thinking, even as we talk through the months of each year, it's like, okay, it's already more than halfway over. So it's basically we're in the next month already. So it's going to be definitely a good conversation to have.
Absolutely. So right now, first thing I want to say is if you are feeling the, feeling like the super overwhelm, like, how am I going to get all this done? How am I still going to hit my revenue targets? I still need to do this. I'd wanted to do this year, right? A lot of times people can feel extremely overwhelmed at this period of the year, regardless of whether your business is doing fantastic or if your business is still trying to find its footing with some of the changes that we've seen in the market in this past year plus, right? So regardless of where you're at, what I want you to do is just kind of, first of all, take a deep breath. I'm trying to teach myself to breathe. This is not my life. So take a deep breath and just think, you know what? I've got ahead of me 3 to 4 months. I am going to do what I can do in this 3 to 4 months. You might need to reset some goals. You might need to give yourself permission to plan forward instead of looking backwards and feeling a bunch of judgment or a bunch of weight because you didn't do certain things that you had hoped to do. And instead, just realistically look forward and say, what can I do not only to end this year as positive as I possibly can, but more importantly, the things you're doing now are setting up what next year looks like. So what can you do in these next 3 to 4 months to make sure that you are set up for a really successful next year? And if you think about elongated buying cycles, if you think about a lot of the shifts that we're seeing, hopefully you've been doing enough nurturing that you can drive a lot of revenue and a lot of profitability in your business in Q4. But even if you're still trying to find your footing and things aren't landing the way that you want to yet, you've not yet found that magic and, magic mix of things that are bringing in the right people who are ready to say yes. Make sure that you are staying laser focused and that you are continuing to keep going, because what you do now is what will drive most of your revenue and results in Q1 next year. So this quarter is exceptionally important. It's really important. Q3 sets so much of the stage for how the rest of this year goes, but Q4 sets the stage for how next year goes. So it's really, really important as we're about to head into Q4. So Jess, any thoughts, anything to add?
One of the things that comes to mind is really thinking through getting the most that you can out of Q4. Instead of thinking about, it was funny, I was watching something and it's like, I can't do anything because I'm thinking about the things that I have to do. And I'm like, okay, if you actually narrow the scope and actually think about what can I do in this quarter, or at least as we approach it and make the most out of it, you'll have you'll have much more progress and be able to honestly probably have more of the results that you're actually targeting, even or even if early on from the year you set some goals and you wanted to hit some targets. If you were to actually be laser focused instead of thinking about what hasn't been done or what's fallen short, instead of investing your energy in the what hasn't happened and what's actually possible and being disciplined, I think that there's so much opportunity in that. It's just a matter of actually focusing on it to execute accordingly. So I definitely feel like there's room for greatness still, even if you are realigning all of your goals and your targets to make the most out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's look at what that looks like. Let's break it down. So, first things first, what you want to do is look forward and look at a realistic goal for Q4, look at a realistic financial target, and look at a realistic goal, no more than 3, that you want to accomplish before the end of this year. And make sure as you're doing that, you are thinking ahead to next year. Because again, what you do now enables Q1. So be thinking about what are those things you need to start, decisions that you need to make, key hires that you need to make in your business, big transformations or shifts that you need to make that are going to set the stage for what you want to do next year. So Q4 should be a blend of laser focus on delivering, of course, exceptional value to your existing clients, bringing in new clients and revenue in the business, but also preparing to hit Q1 with a quick start so that you don't lose Q1 all of a sudden trying to figure out what needs to happen. So that's a lot of what your focus should be. So look at in your business, what are the things that are going to be the biggest revenue drivers, and try to be really discerning in what you say yes to, and then cut anything that's not that. If it's not going to be driving revenue and profit in the business, or it's not going to be laying the foundation to do that in Q1, it is not something that you should be focused on, especially if you're feeling a bit behind. And as you are going ahead and setting goals, as you're getting clear on what's going to be happening, make sure that you're factoring in the reduced capacity that you and your team likely have in Q4. Most people lose a lot of December because of the holidays. Most people take the last couple of weeks of the year off. I know we shut down the last 2 weeks of the year. A lot of businesses do. Our team takes holiday, right? So what does that look like? If you're in the US, we've got the Thanksgiving holiday as well. And so what does that look like, right? We just came off of the Labor Day holiday in the US. So if you think about the times that people are going to be available in your own capacity and what you want to protect to be able to spend time with family or friends, and again, go into that new year feeling refreshed and recharged instead of drained as well, make sure you're factoring that into your commitments. I find most people overcommit in Q4 because they are in the September scramble when they're making their plans and they feel the weight of everything. So they're like, I gotta get it all done. I gotta do it all. And then they forget about the fact that them and half of their team and everybody else in the world is not working for a key part of Q4. So just to make sure you're factoring all of those things in and you're being really realistic about what's possible. It's okay to stretch yourself. I love stretch goals. I love not just settling for, okay, I guess I'll just do this. You still want to really move forward and get some really positive momentum forward. But you also want to be realistic, because if you had this big, big goal at the beginning of the year, you're looking at this last quarter and thinking, there's no way I could hit it. And you don't adjust, you don't adapt, you don't accept that you are where you are, you will feel so deflated and behind knowing you can never hit it that you won't actually get as far as you could if you just reimagine and look at what's actually possible and what's really important to you in Q4.
Right. And one of the things that I was thinking about was when you're in that space of actually looking ahead, like literally look ahead to the point where I will sit down with an actual calendar and look at what it is that I want to do, need to do, what are the desired outcomes, and compare that to the actual calendar. And so if you actually notate some things down, you can actually see a visual and seeing like, when is this actually going to happen? What is realistic? So that also helps with your obviously the reduced capacity, but then it's also thinking about, are you accommodating for now that school's back in session for those that may have school programming, sporting events, etc. You have the holidays. There are also some other things to think about when it comes to Obviously, like in November, we have Thanksgiving, and then you also have Black Friday, and then you have Small Business Saturday, and then you have Cyber Monday. There are so many different things that happen. It's just like mapping everything out and actually just looking at it allows you to be able to pace yourself in a way that could be more sustainable from a human perspective. So you're not overdoing it or overcommitting and then going through that same cycle of feeling that you're under delivering.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to key in on some of the upcoming promotional holidays, if you will, that we have in the business. But before I do that, one of the things that you need to be doing now as well, not to overwhelm you more when you look ahead at Q4 and you're like, I need to do what? You also need to be thinking about Q1 and you need to be thinking about next year. And here's what I mean in that. Most of us have had to shift our offers in some way, shape, or form. And if not our offers themselves, whether it's how we package it, how we price it, how we deliver it, even if our core thing remains the same, there's some level of change that's happened. But even if that's largely similar to what you did before, I guarantee the way that you're messaging it is probably different, or the way that you're getting people into it is probably different. You might be putting people through what I call a gateway offer before they're entering your core offer, especially if it's more high ticket, right? And so if you think about the way that you market, the way that you sell the things that you're doing, they're different. In a lot of ways, they're different. Well, when you look ahead to next year, what do you want to carry forward with you and what do you want to lean out and leave behind? And the reason why I want you thinking about that now is we have the incredible opportunity known as Small Business Saturday, Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up. And what better time to release and let go of some of the things that you want to release and let go and possibly make some really great end of year revenue from that. Right? If you know you're going to retire something, if you know it's going to be the last way you're going to do something, last time you're going to do something, those are incredible opportunities to give people a last chance to get something at a reduced price. You know, if you're a regular listener of the show, I am not a fan of discounting. I love bonusing versus discounting. The one exception is if you're retiring something, you can discount that down as low as you feel is, reasonable because you're not selling it anymore after that point. It's like last chance, get it now. Here's what it is. Cart closes this time. It's not fake urgency. It's none of that. It's a legit, it's going away after this time because you just know when you directionally look at where you want to go, or when you have learned so much throughout what you've been doing so far this year, you just know that you no longer want to, or what you used to have won't sell in the same way. And you don't want to reimagine it. It's just not something that's worth that energy to you right now. It is a really good opportunity to be planning those things out. And I want you to be planning those things out now because when you look at Q4, it's not just, I want to make this much money. It's what are you actually doing to get there? What is the strategic plan to get there? What does your team need to be focused on when to get there? And that's going to be really, really important because, again, time is going to disappear really quick. You're going to bump up against holidays and other people doing big promotions and launches because Q4 is a big promo launch period. So you want to be giving that a lot of intentionality and thought.
Yes, the intentionality is going to be so critical because it allows you to make sure that you're heading into the new year with the things that are going to serve you and your business the best. And then also even positioning those opportunities for like you were mentioning, like whether if you're choosing the discounted route or bundle bonuses, etc., it's actually figuring out what works for you as well. And so I know we're constantly talking about the business and how all of that works, but you're also thinking about in what capacity do you want to be involved? How much does it take and require for you to physically do it? Are you having to be the sole person that's delivering on anything? So if not, you want to make sure that you're not creating that space for you to have to be more involved than what you have the commitment to be able to do or the capacity in order to do so. So it's thinking from those things holistically with that intention is extremely imperative.
Yeah. And along those lines, right? If we think about next year and what, again, you want to bring forward into the new year and what you don't, if right now, when you think about what Jess was just saying, you're like, I am the only one that delivers everything. Everything is dependent on me, at least from a client perspective. Maybe it's also completely dependent on you internally within your own business behind the scenes as well. And so do you want that to be a repeat next year? Or is it time to finally put the systems and the structure and the team and the things in place that are going to allow you to actually take a step back from the day to day, whether that be internally internally, operationally within your own business, or whether that even be in a client facing capacity and your role shifts and you're able to elevate your team in new ways. Those sorts of decisions are really important to be thinking about and making now. So it's not June next year going into Q3 and all of a sudden you're like, didn't I say I wanted to get out of the day to day? I guess I should probably do that now, because time goes and moves so quickly. So now is the time to be thinking about those sorts of things for sure as you are planning out Q4. So what do you want to make from a revenue perspective? What are you going to do to get there? What do you want to bring forward with you into the new year? What do you want to leave behind? Of the things that you're going to leave behind, are there any of those things that are things that you can sell that fit with the promotion period? Or is there something, even an extra incentive? Like, it's very challenging for me to find big blocks of time to work with people in the way that I used to. I used to sell, and a lot of my business ran on VIP days. Now you only get VIP days with me if you work with me privately. And I do those very sparingly because I'm in a very different season in my business right now. But I usually will open up a couple of those for Small Business Saturday. And people who follow my work and know that, they will wait every year for Small Business Saturday because they know I'm going to open up VIP days and they never can get them otherwise. And so I tend to sell out of them very quickly because people recognize that it's the only way they can get it with me for an investment that's not $25,000 plus. And so for you, is there something else maybe that you can even add in, that it's not even just to like get rid of something that you're no longer going to sell next year, but something that would allow you to bring in extra revenue before the end of the year, right? If you do things like I do with planning or with systemization or things along those lines, really great things to be selling before the end of the year because everyone wants to start the new year in a really positive way. So think through some of those things and make sure you are setting yourself up for that foundation of next year.
Yes, for sure. And being able to create opportunities for you to be able to do the things that you enjoy within your business, even if your season doesn't allow for it to do it as frequently as you would like, or even if it's in that season and that you're fine with it. It's just, I think it's really neat that you can find a strategic way to still incorporate it, even if it's in small doses, so that you can still be able to tap into your clients' needs the way you need to, in a way that allows you to with your capacity.
So I know for us for this year, when I look forward to what we have ahead of us, right now we're in the middle of accepting new members into our certification programs. I'm so super excited about kicking off this next cohort, which we're doing in October, which is really just, this is the thing that fires me up. And I'm so beyond passionate about Jess as well. And so we're really laser focused in on this. And because we've been so laser focused in on this, we looked at everything that we had planned for this year. We looked at so many of the things that we had mapped out and that we thought we were going to do. And we made the decision where we're leaning it all out. We are going all in, 100% all in on the certifications. And so pretty much every single thing that you hear me talk about, everything that you see me produce, if you've attended any of my live events, if you haven't, go to strategicopsinstitute.com/events and you'll find whatever I have coming up. But everything really goes towards the certifications. And we have a very laser singular focus with a lot of intentionality. And we're looking at, what does that look like next year? How does this look? How many cohorts do we want to lead next year? How many licenses do we even want to make available, right? We really protect these licenses. It is not something that is mass available. This is my life's work that I'm giving people access to my entire system, my entire way that I scale businesses. And so I'm super selective in who we let in, and I hold those licenses very tight. And so we're making a lot of these decisions now. It's really, really important that we do that now because that guides what we're doing in Q4. It guides how we set the stage for a successful Q1 and then a successful rest of the year. And we even started talking about it well before now because it guided what we did all summer to lead up to this point, knowing that September, October is a really big launch period for us where we're encouraging people to get applications in. We are reviewing those applications. We're leading live events. We're having phone calls with people. And then we're very selectively inviting people into the certification path with us. So what is that for you? What does that look like for you? And if you think and you say, every year I've done this, but based on what I'm seeing in the market, I don't know that that's going to work right now. Great. Leverage this as an opportunity to experiment. Think about
Yes.
what people need and what people want most right now. I know for us, we're experimenting with a lot more live events. I don't know about you, but I find that that interaction and that being able to spend time with someone, the ability to actually ask questions, really valuable. I'm keeping things short intentionally. People are very time poor right now. What people don't have is time, but if they know they actually get real in-depth time with someone and can ask questions, I'm finding that that is translating pretty well. So that's our focus. For you, it might be something different, but think about what that is, and that is what will help you actually have the September not be so scrambly and Q4 end up being a whole lot more productive instead of just pure chaos.
Yes. And I think even with the approach that you just explained that we're taking, it's taking the time to slow down, and be, obviously we've talked about intentionality, but being authentic in what it is that you're doing. Because as of right now, the consumer behaviors and the things that they're needing right now, they're slowing down. They're not as quick to move on something. And so I've observed that the behaviors are wanting to see, okay, at one point we had an influx of people just getting things, buying things, wanting to be active. It's like one of those things, like you came out, like the whole pandemic effect of like, okay, let me just do what I can. Now it's like, okay, that became oversaturated. Now let me slow down, because with everything just being so unpredictable, whatever the case is, people are more hesitant. And with that, they're really choosing to do things that resonate with them more. And if that, it's taking longer for things to resonate and for things to feel as if they should. So it's one of those things, if you're being intentional, you're being authentic, and you're actually making some connections, and you're narrowing the scope so people don't have decision fatigue, or it's not like this overwhelm. Because I like to go places that don't have too many options on the menu at times, because I don't want to think, especially with what I do every day. So it's like, I don't want to have to overthink. I don't want to have to assess everything. And if I do have to research something, I would like to be able to do so in a more narrowed fashion. And at least that alone says, okay, well, if they don't have too many different things, then I expect at least one of these few options to be exceptional. And if that's what you're going to do and the approach you're going to take, then I think that that also gives your potential client, customer, whomever, the ability to have that trust in you just in how you position yourself.
Yeah, it's true. It's I just on Friday last week at the time that I'm recording this, I led a 1-day event, and this was helping those in our certification program build their scalable offer suite. So how do they take what they're learning? How do they augment their current services? How do they make sure that it's more scalable and more sustainable? And so it was a really fantastic event. It's one of my favorite events to lead. So one of the things that we just wrapped up in our current cohort of the certification is a 1-day workshop where we dive in with people and teach them how to build their 500K offer suite. So how do they take their current services or the new services that they're going to be offering, that they're learning about in the certification program, and build an offer suite that's scalable and sustainable? And one of the things that I tell them when we start to get into pricing and when we start to look at how they want to actually package their offers and how they want to actually position their offers is I look at it and I tell them, I can always tell how much a business makes based on what their service offering looks like. I can guess with surprising accuracy sometimes how much money a business makes by looking at their service offering. And especially in an operational space, people will think, I'm going to list everything I could possibly do. And it looks like a takeout menu. It's got like categories with 25 things under each category, and it's this big long list. And I say, whenever I see that on a website, I know that business struggles to make 6 figures. If they make 6 figures, it is highly, highly unlikely, but they really struggle to make 6 figures. The more dialed in an offer is, the more that offer has a signature framework associated with it, the more repeated they do something over and over and over again, and they're the one person, the one thing they're known for, the more I know the business makes money. And it's the opposite of what most people think. A lot of times they think, well, if I just tell everyone everything I can do, well, they're going to be able to find something, but it's not. It's exactly what Jess said. There's decision fatigue. There's all of these other things. You want to be so laser focused and niched in with what you do. I don't care what industry you're in, what you do, whether it's operational, whether it's, some other kind of service, whether it's coaching, whether it's consulting, it doesn't matter what you do. You want to be really dialed in and laser focused. So this is a big focus of what we did with them. We defined their value prop. We got crystal clear on their ideal target market. And if you're thinking, yeah, I've been in business a long time, so have they. I only certify established, really experienced business owners. So these are people who have been in business in some cases for decades. And when I look at people, when I look at a lot of the clients I talk to, doesn't matter how long they've been in business, they frequently have too broad of an offer suite and they don't have a really well-defined niche or value prop. They can't really talk about what distinguishes themselves from their competitors in a way that really matters and that leads to people immediately getting it, understanding it, and wanting to buy. And so we go really deep into this in the workshop. And on the surface, it can sound like it's more, well, isn't that something you do when you first start your business? Yeah. And it's something you do anytime there's a market change. And it's something you do any other time. But my takeaway in all of that and why I wanted to share it, based on what Jess had been saying about decision fatigue and not too many things, is keep things super dialed in. Keep things super crystal clear. And if you adjust anything, adjust messaging. Adjust messaging to make it clear who you're talking to, who you're not talking to, exactly what benefit they're going to get, why it's important and why it's important right now, and make it relevant for the specific issues and problems and challenges that they're experiencing today, right now, and looking forward. Because while I'm telling you to look forward to next year, your clients are also thinking about next year. So what is it that not only are they going to be focused on in Q4, but what are they already thinking ahead to next year? And so these are the things that you want to be thinking about as you're defining your plans and putting your strategies together. And I can't wrap up this episode without saying, who is going to support you in all of this? Who is it that you need by your side? Do you already have the right-hand person? If not, it's time to find them. Hopefully it's time to find them. Maybe you already have a right-hand person. It's time to find the second one. If you're in the multi-7 plus figures, you probably need a second right-hand person, as I've talked about on past episodes, someone at a strategy level, someone at a strategic execution level. If you're just dipping into multi-6 figures, it's probably time to get someone at a strategic execution level. And if you're just getting into 7, it's probably time to start looking at bringing someone in at a strategy level. But you want that right-hand person. And beyond that, where are there gaps in the business? Where are you still wearing too many hats that you should not be wearing? I know for me, there is a really big hat I'm getting ready to take off. I am super excited to be taking this hat off. We are in the middle of interviewing and hiring for it. And so I'm looking ahead at what is next year. What am I going to need and how am I going to get started with that now? So the person is onboarded, trained, ready to go and ready to rock and roll so we don't have delays next year.
For sure. And one of the things, just to add one little tidbit to what you were saying, especially when it's with the messaging isn't limited to just your products. It's just like you mentioned, even to the down to the job description. It's one of those things where it's who is this for? Who is it not for? And being really, really clear so that whenever you get to the calls of you're booking a consultation or you're having an interview, those calls become exponentially more valuable and meaningful because you're not having the fluff conversation. You're having the more in-depth, real conversations, the ones that actually make the difference versus it having to be that surface level. So as of right now, in the phase that I'm in my life, time is so valuable to the point where that's time you can't get back. And I'm trying to be very, very intentional about everything that I'm communicating so there's less room for error, having to repeat everything. And so when you said that, repositioning your messaging or doing things a little different with that to be sure to include what's necessary, that is something that can be a game changer for your life and your business.
It really can. And there's so much we could talk about on this topic, but this feels like a good place to put a wrap and recap. Just really, if you're in the September scramble, again, try to take a deep breath, try to just reground yourself, try to just accept you are where you are. Don't give yourself any judgment on it. It is what it is. All you can do at this point is look forward and look at what is the best, most productive, most valuable thing that you can do to end this year as positively as you can and set the stage for a really successful next year. And make sure you're putting the right things in place now to make that possible both this year and next. And don't forget about the upcoming holiday season and the opportunity there for those of you who want to do some kind of promotion and try as best as possible to avoid discounting. You'll make me so happy if you do bonuses instead of discounts, unless you are retiring something. So with that, I hope you got a lot of value out of this discussion. Jess, thanks so much for being back with me again, and we will see you again next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Simplify to Scale. If you'd like to take things further, I invite you to join me for my Scale Smarter, Not Harder interactive workshop. Head to strategicopsinstitute.com/scale smarter to get registered. Not only will we dive into what might be keeping you trapped in the day-to-day, but you'll have the opportunity to ask me your questions live. If you got value out of today's episode, I'd love if you'd take a moment and rate and review the show so more businesses can learn to scale more simply and sustainably. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and I'll see you again next week.